Hello and welcome to a very special episode of DCP plus Side Quest, episode 420. Blaze it.
What's special about that? Why is that special, bro?
What do you mean, TV? You narc?
So episode 420, you invite the ex-pastor to come and hang out?
That's right. Hey,
Yep.
everybody's welcome on 420, man.
And
That's
it's
right.
Easter, so
That's
yeah.
right.
ex-pastor, Easter, 420.
That's weird. I didn't
resurrection
realize
is
how that
so
lined
lit,
up.
bro.
Was that intentional, do you think, by Jesus?
I think Jesus knew that. He's like, dude, a couple thousand years from now, things are going to line up pretty good.
420. Well, how you guys all doing? We had a lot to going on this week. We got the marathon reveal. Hardly anybody's talking about that, so I don't know if we got anything to say.
No one important is talking about it. So.
What else do we got to talk about this week? There's a bunch of stuff.
Well,
a Destiny reveal's coming up.
Okay.
I know the name,
Big Destiny reveal. Yeah.
but yeah, marathon reveal was huge. We did
What's
get our
the name of
Mario
the
Kart
Destiny
World.
reveal?
I think you just keep them waiting, Brian. That's how we get this engagement.
Yeah. Don't
Like,
look
if you
it
don't
up,
know
Brian.
already,
Don't look it up.
because
I definitely
I
don't
can see in your
know.
glasses too, so I can see if you're googling it.
everybody
watching.
can just see it in his glasses.
It's just, what is, and it's in really big text because we're all old. So you're like, what is the next?
Now everybody probably left the show in spite of what I just said. I was like, I'll just look it up.
So yeah,
No,
it's no
it's
longer
great.
codename Apollo or whatever anymore. We got Edge of Fate is the named next official
Fate.
expansion to the Destiny universe, the
That
Destiny
doesn't tell me
saga.
much. Edge of Fate.
And it,
Well,
We'll
the
get into it,
graphic
I'm
tells
sure.
you a smidge. We can get into it
I
right
gotta Google
now.
it.
Might as well, because I already made the
Let's
time
do
code. I just-
The graphic tells you a little bit because there's some symbols on the graphic that they put out, which are 9 symbols.
Yeah, and the
The
font
nine.
too.
remember the
Good
Trials
Edge
of the
Fate.
Nine? Well, it's
Yeah.
the same 3 symbols, which is technically 9 lines, right? Because you have the 3 circles themselves are 3, and then inside the circles are more lines that intersect with one
Right.
another. And it's a grand total of 9 different lines that make up those 3 symbols.
9 lines.
Dude, TV is like,
Damn.
he's had a lot today from the sound. It's like, man, it's all these lines.
Dude,
and
there's so
like,
many
there's
lines.
more lines
Lines.
and those lines. It's crazy.
A circle's just a line that touches itself. You ever think about that?
I relate
Look,
to lines.
if you just Google Edge of Fate image, like
Mm.
a lot of stuff comes up that has nothing to do with Destiny.
Not
Pretty
recommended.
random name for this.
Let's
Have you ever tried just Googling marathon? Because let me tell you, that's
Mhm.
that's not
You mean
Oh,
like
what
the
you're
old
looking for,
city? Do you mean like the
like the race thing.
racing?
The
I'm
wedding.
surprised that they didn't just wait until May 9th, like Friday, to reveal it at 9 a.m. It just seems clean. Like a little tease at what you're saying. But it's on May 6th, by the way, is the reveal. That's what I'm
Well, I
trying
think
to
they
point
want people to know when to show up. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel
out.
like
No,
those.
I'm saying- no, that
Oh,
I'm
what do you mean?
saying instead of May 6th, why didn't they have it May 9 at 9 a.m.? So it's
Oh, I got
the
you.
9 across the board,
Oh.
you know?
Oh,
But you know
So
what,
then the people
man,
could
dude? I just the 6
decode
is
things.
an upside down 9.
that's
Anyway,
so
I'm
true.
sorry.
Mm-hmm. And a 9 is just a line that comes back and curls in on itself.
Yeah.
That's true. It's almost
It's
like
like
a
a curly
circle
line.
that kind of got carried away.
Yeah. Or didn't make it far enough. Depends how you look at it.
Had to have a stop break, I think. Yeah, it was gonna be a circle, but it had to have a little break.
Exactly. We all did
At the rest
sound
stop.
really high right now, I think.
Fran, I am really high right now.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I guess some of us are. But no, like it's probably good to remind, right? Frontiers is the next year of content that is coming whenever they reveal this actual release date for that next year. This is, I guess, Apollo, I
The
guess.
first
is
expansion.
Edge of Fate
that
now.
year.
we know is the name.
Which makes sense because last week we were talking about how there was the season finale, episode finale of Heresy, and everyone
Yeah.
was kind of like, bit of a what's gonna not leading into anything. It seemed very weird, but we do know that there is a 9 based activity coming
Yeah.
to Destiny. So having a 9-based activity, I'm sure that will lead. There might even be some more story stuff that leads us into the next expansion.
My understanding is that activity incorporates dungeons, right? And revamps a lot of the dungeon gear. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, Right of the Nine was, as a reminder, right? And there's a little update in here, but it accidentally leaked in production to the audience, so they caught it, so they like shut it down because it just had like testing stuff in it, like blocky guns, which they had previously said, okay, this is like testing guns. You guys, if you did get them, you can keep them, but they actually had to tell us in this, by the way, that if you were excited about that, unfortunately, they're just not going to be able to do that. So if you did earn any of those Right of the Nine weapons and you were like, oh, they said I could keep these even though they're weird and they won't be that relevant, it sounds like you can't anymore.
They probably just looked into it and were like, crap. I don't think we can have like 2 versions of these same weapons. Code is weird and things will get messy. So
yeah,
maybe they'll do like an ornament in the future, which would be cool if you get an ornament that makes it look like the
Oh, sure.
I could see them doing that, like when we had everything was Prometheus lens lasers and PvP and all that, and then they were like, you know what? Yeah, laser tag, leave it broken, and if you participate, you get an emblem because it's.
They are giving you.
I got a question for you guys.
Currency, really quick. I just want because we're on this part. They are giving you enough currency to get enough weapons from 2 dungeon runs if you do have these weapons that are being taken away from you. So.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So it's a make. They do have a make good.
It's a make do. It's a make good. Yeah. Okay. Briar. Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking. They got the codename Frontiers. I'm looking at. Am I looking? I don't know what I'm looking at. Siege PG. They have codename Apollo coming summer 2025. They call it a major update, and then they got another fall 2025 major update, and then winter 2025 major update, and then spring 2026 major update. So
those are.
Forgive me if we've talked about this 100 times, and I just spaced out.
Brian, this is the time I always laugh, and you're looking at the roadmap, and I'll try to explain to people all the layers. It's like it's a hugely multi-layered sandwich that you're trying to describe to people.
Yeah.
So the short of it is, remember, there's just Apollo and Behemoth, which is one expansion split into 2. So Frontiers is the next year of content. Apollo and Behemoth was an expansion split into medium-sized. We don't know what that means yet.
So now they've done away with the big expansion, big yearly expansion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now we know
2 medium ones.
That Apollo is Right of the. No, I'm forgetting Right of the Nine. No, Edge of Fate. Look what you've done to me. And
Brooke Breyer.
I hope you all are watching. Briar's really doing a good job here. I love his performance. I love that it also says happy birthday in the background. It's really a nice touch.
He might just be Snoop Dogg.
Do we think he's listening anymore?
No.
Okay, he might. Now I don't even know if he was just trolling me.
Oh,
that
no,
I should keep
he
saying.
does not remember anything.
But
don't worry.
last thing I would say, as
no clue,
because it is hard to keep updates, and we'll just see on May 6th. But there are like 4 major updates a year. Those are more like season passes and like some free updates and stuff within that. And
so there's some free stuff, some big stuff, some medium stuff, some small stuff, some paid stuff.
Is this the first year of this?
That has been...
Edge of the Nights will be the first one, Briar. Edge of the Nights. Yep. That will be the beginning of our first new destiny.
The Ring of Fate.
Yep.
And the Great Circle.
There's going to be a lot of circle callbacks in this episode, I think.
And forgot what I was going to say. Never mind.
Edge of Fate. Was it about that? Or we ended on blocky guns on a serious note there. And then that was... No. Had nothing to do with it, Watts. It'll come to you later.
Maybe. You know when you can feel when it's there, it's like in the front of your head, and then you feel it slowly getting further away.
With the harder you try to reach,
and you're like, "Oh, it's gone.
It's
gone. Yeah, it's gone."
It wasn't about the roadmap, was it, Watts?
Maybe.
It's sort of like when there's a bit of eggshell that makes it into the bowl with the egg, and you try and grab
Yeah.
it with your
Yeah.
fingers,
Oh.
and it just like shoots away from you every time. Oh, it's
Wow.
infuriating.
What a great analogy.
And then it's gone.
Yeah,
And then you
that's
lose
exactly
it in the
that.
egg
And
somewhere.
you're like,
and you're
I guess
well,
I'm eating it.
Oh yeah, I do that. Occasionally, where I'm like, it's just an eggshell. Like, I've never heard
What
of
harm
anybody
could
getting
it
sick
do?
from eating some eggshells.
I'm sure it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's that. And this is supposed to be the like Metroidvania storytelling thing that they're trying out, where you're going to be able to, they said you're going to, well, obviously this was probably quite
We'll see
early
about
on in
that.
development of the Edge of the Night Fates, but it's yeah, they're trying out a Metroidvania thing where you can try and go to different parts of the story. You don't have to just go down one road.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and on the roadmap stuff, though, we'll see, because we really haven't gotten an update since, I think, last September to that roadmap. So things may have even changed. We don't know for sure, but that's what they had promised us again, with all like 4 season passes. But there's actually, I misspoke there. That is again where it's confusing. Apollo and Behemoth, and again, Apollo is now Edge of Fate. Edge
Yeah.
of Fate is a season, and then the next half-sized expansion, Behemoth, will be a season. But within that, there's
Yes.
2 major updates. That's what Breyer was talking about.
Yes.
But again, I will repeat.
He's not
if-
listening
if
right
they don't
now.
change- I
friend.
know, but
He's-
we do. I think people on the
You've
show
got
do, and they're like,
Spotify in.
I think there's a group of people who every time I talk about this probably still laugh because they're like, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. But a season has 2 rewards passes, and that's what always gets me, man. According to
this
the roadmap.
is the next. Just think of this as the next final shape, the next whatever, right? This is our next expansion, but the way that they're doing expansions is they're going to be smaller and they'll be more often. So, this is your next big, quote unquote, paid content for Destiny.
Yeah. But hey, we're 2.5 weeks away from
we'll
learning
see.
more about this finally. For a while we had speculated, right? And everybody's like, why don't they talk about it? And my view is always, yeah, I think they wanted to let Frontiers finish up, but now we also see that Marathon reveal was probably part of that too. They're like, let's get all that out of the way, as well as, finish up. The season did just finish last week, so kind of makes sense.
Yeah, man, I think the timing makes sense of when they're bringing it, because we still have the other activity that's coming still as part of like this episode. So I think it makes sense. Yeah, so we'll see what's in there. I don't know what's going to be in there, but there's going to be something.
Well, I'm excited just to know what. I mean, I feel like a lot of people just been waiting to find out what Destiny moving forward is gonna be.
Yes.
So it'll be good to have some answers and some direction there.
Yeah, it's easy to almost underestimate, I should say. Like, a lot of people are like, you know what? I kind of did Final Shape, and I moved on to other stuff. Like, maybe I'll come back someday, and like, love it or hate it, nothing wrong with that. But for some people, it's a 10-year journey. And so just to even like, wait, what are they doing for the next like year of content? It is always a really big moment. This is not going to just be like another episode announcement. It is the direction of Destiny into the future. That's what I would expect to hear on May 6th. Not, I hope we do. I should say, I think we deserve that, and not just, well, this is what we're doing with this, but stay tuned for the rest. Like, I hope it's a little more about where do they see the whole franchise going? Like, why should we jump back in this summer? Period.
Yeah. I'm curious. Very curious to see. Very, very curious. But that's all we have at the moment. And that's obviously all we're gonna probably get. And the TWAP is also pretty light. It was just the thing about the people who got access to those weapons early, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, if you are listening, I think we're going to be talking about Marathon maybe next, but there was the Destiny emblem, and if you were watching, it shows up in your Twitch inbox as like a claim, and I believe you have to hit that claim button before April 19th. So, reminder to you, you may have earned it, but I don't know if you claimed it, and you have very little time left right now.
Make sure you claim it.
Twitch inbox, go look.
Twitch inbox.
Marathon emblem in Destiny. That matters to you.
Marathon.
Marathon.
Perfect segue.
All right. I don't know anyone's thoughts.
I mean, somebody should start with like what happened.
I got it.
All right.
I got it.
Take it
I'm
away.
wearing Marathon green. I'm festive. So this was the gameplay reveal, because we knew that it was a thing. We'd heard it was a thing. But this was the first time we'd actually seen the game. So they had everyone in the studio at Bungie. You had developers kind of talking about the game, interviewing them. There were a bunch of devs in the studio, which I thought was really cool because it's not very often you get to ship a game. Kind of nice to be excited about showing it finally. So that was nice to see. But they took us through some kind of regular gameplay of what you can expect from Marathon, which is a 3-teamed PvPvE extraction shooter. And it is hero-based, but probably not how you would expect it to be when you say that it's hero-based, right? Because if you think of heroes, you think of Apex or Overwatch, where they are the characters that they are. Like in Apex, you can switch out their guns, but in Marathon, you're going to be able to really customize what the characters can do, not just their guns.
I'd just say it's more of a hero base, but because it's,
it's a hero base, yeah.
And
you're picking
customize,
like the foundation.
And you can customize your aesthetic too, can't you?
But from the looks of it, yeah, from that crazy trailer, which we'll talk about.
That trailer where, Glitch is we saw like 6 different iterations of Glitch,
Yeah, I assume there's gonna be that for sure. But yeah, it's kind of
thematically it works. If your consciousness is getting re-uploaded into a new body every time, you could probably be like, I don't know, let's go with this time.
Yeah. So each time you're like, I like black hair, I like red hair.
So what do we know about between now and when's it releasing, price date, all that as well?
It's releasing September 23rd. We do not know the price yet. The only thing we know is that it will be a paid product, but not a full price product. So I think what people were saying before with it being $40 is probably right. Because it either feels like you're in that 70, 60 range or you're in like that $40 range. Pretty much.
Yeah, and Helldivers was from PlayStation.
Helldivers was 40,
40 with $10 passes on top of it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the model.
Yeah, so I think there's that, but we also have a closed alpha, which you guys can sign up for now if you are interested. And the closed alpha is April 23rd. And it is under NDA. You will have to sign an NDA when you sign up to get access to the alpha. So you won't be able to post gameplay or anything.
Live stream or
And I think it's worth saying here, it's like a closed play test of an alpha state. And the reason I say this is there's some people that we'll see what they do in terms of public, but people, because I think the terminology, it's easy to be like, oh, great, I can't be a part of the alpha. And it's a little different, right? There's alpha states of games. And I think that gets confused these days with they have an early access alpha. And it's so I would say, wait, maybe we get just an open beta. But maybe they do an alpha. I don't know if they wrote that off yet.
I would guess, based on what Bungie's done before, I would guess there's probably going to be a closed test that's a little bit smaller to make sure the servers are working and the matchmaking is working and that's all good. And then they'll probably do an alpha where maybe you have to I don't know, pre-order the game or something to get access. And then they're definitely going to have an open beta. They've already teased a beta in some of their graphics that they've been putting out, and it just makes sense. And Destiny did that as well. They had even from it was 1 month between alpha beta game release for Destiny. So they're definitely gonna have an open beta.
I probably wouldn't have bought Destiny 1 had I not played the alpha and the beta. I'd be like, oh, this is totally my vibe. Yeah.
Same. Yeah, I was like, why would I be interested in this? I don't care about shooting this weird Captain Alien thing. And then I tried the PvP and I was like, oh,
I'm in.
This is good. Yeah, this is nice.
Now, do you remember what PvP had the stationary turrets back then?
Yep.
And you had the Cabal tank you could drive around too.
So many vehicles.
It was so Halo-ish at the time.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, it was.
But so for Marathon, we got a glimpse at a gameplay trailer that actually showed, the main map, which we'll talk about, they demoed and mostly showed, but they did show glimpses of other stuff, but they are hiding in a total of 3 to 4 maps out there. We really just saw Dire Marsh for
We've just seen one pretty much,
And that's, I believe, their biggest map, according to either interviews or rumors. That's what it's starting to turn into, where there was a bunch of interviews and people posting
there's
info.
So many.
But I know there's been leaks and rumors too. So anyway,
there's also been people who played it, right? People got flown out and played it.
Dude, there's people who have played for 70 to 100 hours play testing this game, creators. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
and that's so for the event, they flew people out, several weeks earlier or whatever, and there's that component. But like Watts is saying, one, yeah, you've had someone like Lupa who's almost been a consultant playing it for the last 5-6
Right.
years or whatever, and then you have some people like last year they were flown out. Like I don't know, was anybody here? Were you TV or?
No.
Okay.
I've been
Some people.
invited a few times for, I want to say like a couple years, maybe a year or two. I've never played it though.
But you
I've never been able to make it. The timing has just always been like the worst timing lining up. But yeah, I've always wanted to. I was always sad I couldn't make it.
Yeah. But games change fast, as we know. But the point is, there was people playing it for years, but really now it's like finally in the state that it's coming to us on September 23rd. So anyway, I guess should we talk about what we thought of it, or?
Yeah. So here's I'm gonna go on a spiel, and I'm gonna need to spiel. Okay?
All right.
Get
All
your
right,
spiel
away.
cups. Okay. So I think for me, as someone who enjoys Bungie shooters, seeing Bungie making a dedicated PvP game, I think is always going to be a little bit interesting, at least, because I like the way the guns feel. I like the way they make stuff. It feels really good. I've never really been into extraction shooters except for the Dark Zone in the Division, which is what I found really fun. It was chaotic and intense, and I really liked that. And then other ones that I've tried have just been a little bit too far in the trying to be like a military sim, and it's been kind of boring and slow, so not really my vibe. So seeing that Marathon is, the maps appear to be smaller, and I think everyone has even mentioned that like these are kind of smaller maps, and that entices me personally because I want more action. I know that for the extraction shooter genre, maybe that's not like the best thing because you need some more balance, but for me, seeing a smaller map definitely gets me excited, and this one being the largest one, and there's going to be smaller ones, I kind of like that. But the thing that really makes me interested and be like, I could maybe get into Marathon is the way that they're doing the customization of your characters. So you're going to have your, like we discussed before, you're going to have your base of your character, but then you're going to be able to get multiple modifications to them. And this can even come in the form of like giving a character who doesn't necessarily usually go invisible, giving them the ability to go invisible. So you're going to be able to really customize and build into your type of play with that stuff. And all that stuff is stuff that you can lose if you die when you're, fighting on the map. And I personally really like that because it kind of speaks to the roguelite lover in me, where you play a roguelite and you're going on this crazy run and you've got like the best build and it feels so cool and everything's working together, and then when you die and lose it, you're like, damn, I've really liked that build.
I'm gonna go play a different video game now.
But for me, it entices me to be like, well, let me see if I can make it again, or let me see if I can find something else that's really interesting. And I think like that part of Marathon really speaks to me. So I'm looking forward to it. I think gunplay looks good. I think movement looks good. The art direction is phenomenal, in my opinion. The whole vibes of it is great. So I'm feeling positive, but of course, if I start thinking about the longevity of it and what's going to be my reason to logging in every day and all of that stuff, I don't know. But just in terms of what I saw, I think shooting looks clean and the abilities look cool. And I think there's something there that could get me excited.
And to cap that off, maybe once, did you ever play any other extraction shooters much?
I played a little bit of Call of Duty's one, which was, kind of
DMZ.
like an offshoot of Call of Duty, so it wasn't really a dedicated thing, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really delved deep into any other ones now.
Yeah, and I mean, I asked not because that's not a bad thing. Like, this is where I think Bungie is trying to get their, feet wet, is like, and bring this stuff to consoles, which is a big thing too. As people point out, they're like, oh, there's Tarkov and there's Hunt, and I'm like, look, there's a lot to talk about and unpack there as experts. But number one, like, other than I think the Hunt maybe is on console, but it's more limited space for sure. And the DMZ,
Is the Hunt on console?
I think it
know
might
that.
be. Yeah.
That's great.
Well, this is another thing actually. While you check that makes me interested in Marathon is a lot of extraction shooters are M&K based. Either like you can only use M&K or it's better to use M&K. And I definitely just prefer using controller for shooters. I just prefer using it. So having a game that is being made to feel really good on controller and M&K makes me more interested in checking it out too.
One thing I noticed, Watts, especially watching the gameplay, was how small everything was, though, and I was worried about that because, like, you had like guys running at you with shields, and they had the most intelligently designed shield with a gap right at their head, right? Like, you kept seeing that. Did you guys notice that, right? And like, oh, so I got to just shoot this guy right between the wickets here and get headshots if I'm going to do any damage, or I guess I can probably blow up the shield if I pump enough damage into it. I was thinking to myself, man, this is going to, and everything is like really far away because it's like this big open flat field. So I was like, damn, this is going to take some precision to like. Did anybody else notice that? Was that just like?
I didn't really. I know there was one
split?
AI that had that shield thing.
Yeah,
I saw an AI with that. They actually did talk about. I think they had a discussion with one of the devs talking about managing like headshot damage versus body shot damage, and they definitely said that they're not leaning into like you have to be perfectly precise to feel like you're doing anything.
Unless you're fighting this guy with the faceless shield.
The captain, yeah, maybe.
Is he a captain?
Oh, the PvE, right? That's a good sorry, go ahead. Distinction, right? PvE versus.
Yeah, the character with the shield, I didn't see anything on the actual like playable character, but I think I do remember them having a shield, the AI with like a little window.
A window on their face.
Man, now you make me. I gotta study up. I actually thought, yeah, maybe that shield was one of the 4 of the 6 potential.
One of them
classes.
does have a shield.
One of them does have a shield that they can.
I thought that's what he was talking about. No.
I don't think that one
didn't
has
see
a
a
little face
window.
hole.
No, I don't think so.
A face hole.
Yeah,
I think
it comes back to the circle.
I will say, I think for me, like, I have tried several extraction shooters. I played a fair amount of Tarkov. I played a fair amount of Delta Force. I've just never really been bitten by the bug, you know?
Right.
And for me, it kind of goes back to a lot of what Watts was saying, this like military sim vibe that I was getting from it, in this like hyper realism. And to me, like, maps get really muddy when there's just a ton of stuff. And the one thing about Marathon that was striking to me, and I think that it's you can be on the fence about it. Some people love it, some people hate it. But the art direction they chose to run with is very clean. Okay, it's solid angles. This building just has a surface, and it's a matte green color or whatever. And there's no like millions of rubble piles and a spilled cup on the side of it, and you know what I mean. It's just a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And that makes for me like a shooting experience gets a lot worse when there's unpredictable landscapes. I just want to know, like, this is the plane that he's on, here's the plane that I'm on, and adjust for elevation. But when you have all these sloping realism, that stuff just gets lost on me, and I don't enjoy it quite as much. So I definitely appreciate the art style that they're going with and how clean the maps look. Like, it's very much like you can look at it and just intuitively, you don't have to think hard about the landscape itself. You just know what the space is like at a glance. And I really appreciate that, because that to me is like when I got hooked on shooters, I was playing Halo, you know? And that's very much the way it was, you know. Even if you did your own, go into the map creator in Forge and make your own maps, it's all just like solid flat surfaces and hard angles and stuff. And it's so predictable and easy to just get focusing in on the gameplay and the gunplay itself and not have to just interpret your whole environment at the same time. So I like that.
Yeah, me too. You know, never mind like how many of these other games already have that. Yeah, hyper, you know, realistic, real world forest and brown gravel, and like that's fine, you know, and that's a very specific style, and some people get really into that, which is, you know, frankly what Call of Duty and Tarkov and they all thrive on. But that's why, I was a bit surprised that there was definitely some commentary like, I don't know, it's blocky and it's so colorful. Yeah, the colors. And I'm like, you know, look, I respect at the end of the day, you have a certain expectation. Like, it brought me back to like when Nintendo, you know, went from like Ocarina of Time to started changing into Wind Waker, and then they went back to some other stuff. But like, your first reaction is like, oh, it's cartoony, you know? And it's like,
to me, it looks like Windows high contrast mode.
Yeah, like I get that, but one, I'd say, you know, you want to see this stuff in person versus like
for sure
YouTube videos. Although this is pretty good representation these days with the higher bit rates. But no, I'm for the reasons that TV was just hitting on though. I think it looks awesome. Like there's just, I'll tell you the stuff that I really like, and that's the thing. We're looking at one map predominantly.
We are.
Every time I see this game interior, I'm like, this is really nice. Like, it's a super slick, shiny, frankly, Bungie space age thing they're doing, and I love the look of that stuff. You know, I think people have reacted a little more to like the guns, which I get. Like, it's like all these block attachments, but I think until we really see where that goes and get the animations and all like really in front of our face, it's hard to say. Like,
It reminds me a lot of like their Clovis Bray aesthetic in D2.
Mm-hmm.
totally.
Yeah.
So I have no qualms with the visual style, but I understand why people do. I just think we complain about that stuff a lot, and I'm just way more about the gameplay. You know, at the end
I'm
of the
not
day.
blown away by it, but like I don't really have a problem with it either. It's like it definitely looks distinct from other games, but it's not like
Yeah,
I'm not gonna paint my bedroom in this motif. You know?
highlighter green.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's bold and looks really cool. And
definitely bold.
I do think if you see gameplay footage of it, people are kind of joking before it revealed all these cyberpunky looking games like Metal Eden, which I brought up, and they're like, oh, dude, it's been revealed already. It's Marathon. And like, you compare all that stuff now, you immediately know what Marathon is, actually. I don't think you're going to have any trouble. And that's a pretty good sign that the fidelity and the art style, whether you like it or not, they're doing a pretty stellar job with it.
If you see like a YouTube short or an Instagram, you're gonna instantly know.
Yep.
Of,
You're gonna
like
know
a
it's
clip of this
Marathon.
game, you're gonna instantly know it's this game because it's so visually distinctive, which is pretty cool actually. If you think about it,
you want
'cause
that
it's like
for sure.
advertising for itself.
Yeah, actually,
You know what is
from...
a good sign about that too? There is so much fan art. There's so much
already.
Yeah.
And like that is actually a pretty good indication of if a game has at least, you know, a striking, interesting, and inspiring kind of art style, because artists are seeing it and they're like, I gotta draw this because it looks so good. They like it so much. It's inspiring,
wait, I had
creative.
a flash that just occurred to me as you talked about it.
Okay.
Let's see if I'm the only one that's crazy. Do you guys remember Hawksaw in Destiny 1?
Yeah.
The, like green and blue, like dude, it's so that almost fits in this world, doesn't it?
It does. It would fit perfectly. It's like super smooth because it's Suros.
Yeah,
and then the
Seattle Seahawks colors.
It just popped in my brain like Bungie, you know, that look, and I was like, wait, it's like vivid blue, vivid green.
Sure.
Yep.
This game to me looks like it's got a lot to prove before it comes out. Like I hope this game has a alpha and a beta and I hope that they prove to the player like why I should be playing this over Tarkov or Hunt Showdown. Where I think I was watching Skill Up. I played a bunch of Hunt Showdown. I really liked it, but it wasn't because of the game that I think I liked it. It was because of the multiplayer experience, playing with my friends in that environment and with that those kind of stakes. I think is really interesting, and I think that, you know, basically any extraction shooter can do that part of it, right? So what are you gonna do to like separate yourself from, you know, the Hunt Showdown, where you get brought in and you have like all these noisemakers around, whether it's like neighing horses or crows that fly around when you get close to them to attract the attention of other teams. Then you're all following like clues and beacons to like a boss fight in the middle of the map somewhere. And then when you're fighting that boss, you make a bunch of noise, which attracts more attention. Everybody knows where you are. And then if you kill that boss, you got to sit at that boss and like absorb his essence. So everybody knows you're doing that because there's a fucking like beacon in the sky that then follows you all the way to extraction. Like how is Marathon going to do all that stuff? I thought that was interesting. Does it?
Yeah, so I enjoyed sitting through, I think it was Dr. Lupo, I think it's like a 25-minute video or so. But Lupo has like a full video where he just talks about everything he's learned so far and what he thinks about it. And that's a big part of it, is he talks about like these mini games that end up popping up in your extraction runs, where you find a terminal that has a code and it leads you to other terminals. We have to input the code and then it gives you a location on the map. And so it's like a multi-step thing where you're like, oh my gosh, we're following these breadcrumbs to get to some cool loot. But there's all these indicators that you're up to something that's going to alert the other teams, and they might come in and try and swoop in and, you know, piggyback off that too. So there's definitely that aspect of things, I think, is a big part of what makes the individual runs feel different from one another, and that was one of the things that Lupa talked
That's
about.
good.
And there's like randomly occurring events that could pop up, boss encounters as well.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of things from run to run that will try to spice it up and make it, even if you're playing on the exact same map as your last run, it'll feel different. But
Yeah, I
that's
mean-
just what I've
Also-
seen and heard.
I've heard this from two creators now, Scaro and Birsky, I think her name is Birsky. But they were talking about how the fourth map that we don't know anything about is set on a marathon ship. This is supposed to be like an end game kind of map where you can only really go there after you've got some really good loot. And on that map, people are, and these are like Destiny players, where there's going to be like raid dungeon kind of puzzles for you to figure out and do when you're on this map that lead to you unlocking, like getting a key to unlock a room, to get a key to unlock a room, to fight a boss, to then get an artifact, and it's all kind of leading to this big thing. So there is definitely something there that they talked about in the kind of initial Vidoc of this game, where they were saying we want to have like puzzles and people figuring things out. They just haven't talked about it at all yet, and I get it because it's probably not complete and they want to wait until they have something to like show people before they talk about it. But I would love if they even just kind of hint at it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because that stuff being there is
that's
really
gotta be
cool.
I mean, the game is so close. It's in September, right?
Yeah.
I wonder how much work they got to do on this game still.
I actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to point out why might Destiny fans care. Well, it is a PvP game, so you're gonna have to get past that part, even though you can do some quests and shoot PvE enemies in this environment, but it's a PvP game, right? And you're gonna have to team up with 3 people or queue in solo. There's no in between with duos. So getting over that hump, though, I was like, you may care as a Destiny fan though, because like, and maybe a Halo fan, but more Destiny is what I see in it. But the dungeon raid aspect that Watts was putting out there is kind of the rumor. I actually think they're so confident in
not a
what
rumor.
they've. Yeah, not a sorry.
People have played on that map.
See,
They've
I did
played it.
hear like Scaro talking about, yeah, and I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
multiple creators
can
have
he-
played on it. Yeah,
but they didn't say exactly what it was. Is all I'm saying. Like,
the marathon ship.
no. What I mean is, are the mechanics like a dungeon?
That's
in
what they've
Destiny?
said. Yeah, it's obviously it's
But what
hard
does
for
that
them
mean,
to
you know?
explain it,
Yeah.
right? Because they can't tell you the exact specific. Here's the puzzle, and here's how you figure out, and here's like how it all
Right.
But they've said that it's
Yeah, it is the UESC marathon, I guess.
yes,
And I
yeah.
wasn't saying I meant like how
Yeah,
much it plays out to be like a dungeon and how many people are allowed on the map. But I think that's why you might care. I think Bungie's confident enough that they have secrets in this game and they
Yeah.
have seen what happens in a thriving community when you let that unfold. I think it's way more that. I think it's way less the confidence and holding back. And yeah, they've had a lot of work to do, like 3 or 4 maps. That's fairly common, I think, in an extraction shooter, like when it starts. There's a lot to do even in one map, but I think you're going to see stuff starting to unlock, leading clues, and I don't know how they're going to do this marathon shit, but yeah, it's supposed to be really hard, right?
Yeah, it's
as
supposed
well
to be
as
super
have
hard. Yeah.
potentially like doing dungeon raid type mechanics while you're trying to get through this with like a few teams. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think
That's the
it's
like
gonna
Bungie
appeal.
magic unique part, right?
Yeah.
That people are kind of waiting to see where they're like, okay, well, what's besides it looking different and you having like kind of hero bases that you can build upon, because those two things are different. What is unique about this? What's Bungie bringing to it that's different? And I think that's going to be it.
Yeah, and they definitely, like Briar was saying, they have a lot to explain and get out there. I think they
Yeah.
know that, but I did want to ask and bring up where it's like, well, I
Mm.
mean, I've played Tarkov, I haven't played Hunt, but when you really do play any game that's either decent, good, or great, usually those two games they're quite a bit different once you really get into the gameplay. That's why people play the Hunt Showdown and they do not play Tarkov, right?
Right.
They're not
Yeah.
the same, even though they are in the same genre. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
I haven't played them
I would
both.
I
say
was
played so
asking-
little Tarkov that I couldn't even
Okay,
tell
okay.
you the differences.
It's
really.
I mean, I get like Tarkov's absolute insanity, but it is a bit goated in that sense of like that's what I think catapulted it to the top. It's insane, right? You've played quite a bit, right? TV. You're making the bullets.
I haven't in a long time, but yes,
dude,
when it was the big hotness back in the day, yeah. I used to play with I did a couple runs with like Lupo and Darkness 49, those guys, and it was a lot of fun for a couple of weeks, but then
It's
it really
hardcore.
lost. Yeah, it's really hardcore. It almost got to the point where it's like just queuing up, just hitting the Q button felt stressful because I was like, oh man, I know what I'm about to do.
Yeah, it's super stressful. Like, yeah, in that game, like you got the wrong helmet on, you can get shot by anybody with a crappy pistol. Like it's
You're like,
so much.
I got this awesome gun, but I only have one of it. Am I actually going to use it?
Yeah,
right.
you might get lucky and find some dead person's loot who's been like in the game for 1,000 hours, and you get that gun, but you're not wearing anything. And like if you shoot somebody wrong who's reasonably experienced, like they might have on a vest that is, good for that, and they will drop you in a second. But anyway, I'm just trying to point out that the gameplay loops are very different, and I think that's just important to remember that
The loops are different, yeah.
Marathon, yes, Bungie has a lot to prove. Cannot agree more. Bungie also, unfortunately, now has let fans down as much as they've excited them over the years. And so
like PvP
on
fans.
the bar is like so high. And so like I understand the skepticism, but I would just at least say I don't think there's anything wrong with being excited, but they got a lot to prove. And I'm in that camp of I'm excited because I love the feel of Destiny shooters. I actually don't play a ton of PvP, but I've played a lot of Halo, a lot of Destiny. I've played extraction shooters like DMZ a ton. Ticks all the boxes for me. But you gotta feel the gameplay loop, the time to kill, and also when you play a game like this, it needs to be your loot. The only other thing, if you do play this in the play test or alphas, just remember you're going in with somebody else's test, or meaning there's nothing at stake. And the whole point of this is that you go in with less knowledge and very little, right? And that's what these games are cool, is you sort of start to unravel, like, oh my God, wait, you have that attachment? Like everybody starts learning this stuff together, and as long as the game feels good, I think it'll be really cool on those fronts. So I happen to like the genre. But one other thing I wanted to point out is it's on a dedicated server. So for me,
It's not?
dude, no, it is.
Oh,
It is.
Yeah, which is oh no, that was like a deal breaker for me. I sort of assumed it wasn't going to be, and I was like, but no. I read on PC Gamer, they had confirmed. I think it's been confirmed in a few places now. I think they were even talking about it last year, like it was non-starter. So imagine even just playing Destiny PvP type stuff or Halo even on a dedicated server. I'm just excited to feel that, and hopefully it feels great.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed there's no proximity, like
There's no proximity chat, yeah.
which to me was some of my favorite moments of the Hunt Showdown. Was like a team is searching for me, like my two teammates are down and I'm hidden somewhere in like a rickety shack somewhere, and I can hear, where is this motherfucker? I know he's around here somewhere. And you can hear him talking and you can hear their footsteps. So like that kind of shit was so good. I understand why they're doing it, like obviously, like people are toxic and awful now more than ever, which sucks. But man, that was a fun part of the Hunt Showdown. Also, the pricing. I think they got to convince the people that.
Yeah, let's talk about the pricing.
Yeah,
that's worth paying for, because we don't know the price yet. But
so this is the thing, right? Is we are very used to, there's a new PvP game, it's free.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think that a PvP game being paid is a thing that you just like cannot do. But I think they need to prove that, like, with you paying for this game, you don't have to deal with all of the very egregious free to play problems. Because if you look at Destiny is also a paid game, but the monetization of that game is pretty
convoluted.
Yeah. There's a lot
I'd say
going
borderline.
There's a lot of extra monetization in Destiny. So I think if I'm a player who's like, I'm playing, let's say it's $40 for Marathon, I want to see that there's a reason why this isn't free. So you can't have like all the stuff that a free game has while also asking me to pay $40. But if you do show me that, like, hey, I'm not going to have all of these little microtransactions, not going to be a store every time I log in, like selling skins, like that's fine. Selling some skins is fine. But I need to see that there's a reason why it's paid. I'm
Yeah,
avoiding all of the crazy MTX stuff.
yeah, I'm sure it's not the only reason, but do remember that a paywall helps with the cheating problem.
Oh, definitely.
So just imagine trying to launch like something like this with tons of cheaters. I don't think that's their only reason, but yeah, TV, you know more than a lot of us playing so much PvP over the years, right?
Well, I mean, they got to the point where they had to put Trials of Osiris behind a paywall just to keep try and keep the cheaters at bay.
They did, yeah. The good. Oh, just because we're speaking about cheating, they did talk a little bit about that, and they said that they are using the Fog of War system. So if you're unfamiliar with this, I think it's something that Valorant also does to try and help with cheating. But they basically, it's like your machine does not know what it cannot see. Like they have something that stops your machine from even and your game from even knowing what's out there. So when you install a cheat, or it's a lot harder for them to make cheats where they know where all of the people are immediately on the map and you can see them through walls because your machine in your game just cannot see that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they even did some talking point updates on, they're, Battle Eye, they're still using, I believe. But there's been updates to just Bungie as a whole and like tackling cheaters across everything, right? We talked about, I think, last week with them moving to some automation systems. And so
that was something they were slow to respond with, I always felt, on Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like they're moving to an automated system, which I think scares a lot of people. But TV, were you here last week?
No, I was not.
Oh, yeah. What do you think? So maybe related to this, like they said they're moving now to automated AI sort of, based on rules, the basic where it's like, dude, you have like a 20.0 and like your perfect accuracy. Like, yes, that's a bot. Ban them. Why isn't this person banned? Seems
100%.
like they're moving to like, you will be now.
Yeah,
automatically.
I thought automation was the obvious answer from the get-go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can't have somebody yes, I'm very much in the camp of AI shouldn't take human jobs, but at the same time there's some jobs that humans just can't do efficiently.
Yeah,
and it's just not it doesn't make sense to have people monitoring 100,000 players to try and find the cheaters in the needle in the haystack. Automation's an obvious answer for the sake of the majority of players to save their experience. If you can find egregious outliers and immediately take care of them, why wouldn't you?
Nope.
Yeah. But yeah, I was gonna say on the price. Look, like I like a free lunch. I mean, of course, I would want it to be free just because it's free. But I mean, I know it's an unpopular take, but I really dislike a lot of free-to-play games because they're designed around getting your time, getting you into the store. Objectives now become this whole like microtransaction based stuff. I mean, it's just look, it's I don't like it. It's not that I don't like some free games, but you do need a big player population and you have to compete with what's out there. So like on that front, in other words, if somebody's like, hey, this game has to be free because otherwise I am just going to spend my time in Warzone and Apex. And if that is true, that you're enjoying those games that much and Marvel Rivals or whatever, then that's the deal. That's they can't compete with that because
Rivals
it's
is free too. I didn't realize.
I have 600. I'm looking at it's pulled up on my Steam right now. I have 640 hours logged in Marvel Rivals on Steam. I have spent
TV. Your kids miss you, man.
$30 on it. Oh, you're right. I have kids. I forgot about that.
Yeah. And
they're still in the house.
And Fortnite, etc. But like that's sort of the point. I would use Helldivers, which is not the same genre, but technically this extraction shooter is not either. You pay for Hunt, you pay for Tarkov. There's fewer free to play extraction shooters.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the only reason they're doing it. But my only point there was like, look, totally fair arguments. But I don't think games should just be free because they come with all of these problems. But the worst of it for me, again, is what the developers decide to do because it's free. Like, I generally do not like the way that goes. Like, look sort of what happens with a lot of free games inevitably and what they're trying to do to get.
I'm more accepting of it, though, when I don't pay for the game than when I do pay for the game and they're doing the same shit.
They can't. That's the thing.
Sure.
Yeah, they're not gonna be able to say you have to spend $40. You have to pay for a season pass that expires. Like if they like, I'm fine with season passes because I think it's maybe something you need in PvP games to have someone like working towards an extra thing while they're playing. But I like it if it doesn't expire. or if there's a way to like earn that money back as you're playing through it. So
like,
I think
earn the
if
next
it's like,
season.
yeah, exactly. If it's like the best version of a battle pass, that's kind of what I would want to see from Marathon. Personally, I'm playing
what
24.
Rivals does with their battle pass that I love? If you get to the end of the battle pass, you can then continue to do your daily and weekly challenges and cash them in for real in-game currency. So the same currency that you use to buy the battle pass itself, you can earn it back if you get to the end of the battle pass and keep playing. So someone in chat asked, how do you have that much time and you've not bought any of the skins? It's like, I have bought a bunch of the skins, but it's because I have so much time into the game. I'm playing it so much. I get to the end of the battle pass, and then I just keep. I should specify. I've only spent $3 on microtransactions outside of the battle pass upfront charge. I should clarify that. But anyways, I get to the end of the battle pass and I keep playing, and then I earn all those blue coins, and then I can just go buy skins. So I have a ton of the skins. I think that's a really cool system because it actually encourages you to keep playing because you can literally earn money. So I like that.
I think that extraction shooter may be, it may be tough because if the whole point is to like go into this place and pull like cool loot out, and you know that loot is then like I could buy better loot in a store somewhere, like that. That could be a problem, you know.
Well, oh, sorry. You in game store, not for real currency, it would seem. They have something called the black market, right? Which is common in the way these games work. But in this case, apparently it's not like sometimes that's with the community where you're like trading. But you meant microtransactions, right?
Yeah, I definitely did.
This is not that. It's more that you've got a bunch of stuff. I think you could maybe sell it on the black market, or I don't know if you can deconstruct it or whatever, right? But you sell it, you get money, and then depending on what's on the black market, you could buy like a better mod for your hero or your gun or whatever. And that's.
Do you think they will do like skins that you can buy in Marathon?
It's either been confirmed or rumored. This is where I've lost track.
I would assume so.
I think it's like 100% the model is.
It'd be crazy not to, right?
Something like this. This is some speculation here. We've got to confirm, but it's $40. You know, you're gonna have a season pass for $10 or whatever, and then it's gonna have some kind of like store on top of it for like skins. That last
and I know that.
I'm just out. Like, I don't care.
See,
about
I'm different.
Anymore.
Like I do. And this is an interesting discourse that's been happening this week is about the character designs themselves. Some people don't care for the aesthetic of the characters that we're going to be playing in Marathon. I think they look really distinct, and I think that you can have a compelling character without kind of adhering to some societal norms. And I love the aesthetic of these characters that we've seen so far, and I think that there's some pretty cool ways that you could. I think the sky's kind of the limit, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Because they're like cybernetic, beings. They don't have to always follow the rules of anatomy, right? We could get kind of funky and fun with them.
Yeah.
Kind of like we have seen them do with Destiny skins. They don't always have to follow conventional rules. I think like some of the best skins are like the Displacer Beast Hunter set from D&D is super cool and striking. But anyways,
they have talked about that a little bit, actually.
Have they?
Yeah, they said that they want to really make sure that any skins they do have fit with the Marathon look and
aesthetic.
Don't look like they're out of.
Yeah, I hope
the world. Yeah.
So no John Wick skins. Not anyway.
Not yet.
Sabrina Carpenter's in Marathon.
Yeah. Which I love because I feel like it is. I would say an iconic look for a game, and the characters look so. I love the way it all looks. I think it's phenomenal. I think the art direction is incredible. So I like to hear that. Yeah, that I will be able to make my character look different, but I am gonna be able to, it still looks like it's a part of that world. I still look like I'm a synthetic soldier made from worm butts.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, if you will, too, like I don't know if we seen for sure any superior, I believe, is maybe the top, or in other words, exotic level looking stuff. I don't know if we're looking at, say, green level Guardians, when you look at these skins either. I don't know.
Interesting.
I'd be curious if that was confirmed even, like, hey, how do these skins on your character transform? Again, I'm talking about what you can earn in the game and mod out or however that works. never mind, what's in the store. So, but yeah, like I just was double checking that. Paul Tassi mentions the store in his write up, so I think they've talked about it having a shop on top. But I mean, interestingly, that's where I know, like, I think my viewpoint sometimes is hard to understand here, but it's like what I want is not the store, by the way, but I want to have all these skins and stuff that you earn in the game, and it's special, and it's a little like old school of like, dude, I beat this, I did this achievement, it's all based on your gameplay, not I got this because I finished grinding this pass.
Or because
and that's why I don't like free games. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and again, it's where they put
yeah.
stuff. It's for your time you now have unlocked. And to be fair, in a lot of games, like you earn XP and you unlock stuff, and it is kind of your time, but like it's gameplay objective based. And I just feel so many free to play games, you get down this path of like, it's all for just like populating servers and getting your time, which you have to do with a PvP game. I'm not blind to that, but
yeah, this is the downside of it being a live service game that they plan to do, forever, right? Is like, yes, it's $40, but if you pay $40 right now and you're playing 7 years from now,
they're no longer getting money.
They're not getting money anymore. So if they were to make the game purely like you earn everything from playing after you've spent the $40 to get in, they wouldn't make any more money. So it's having to hit that good middle ground of it is worth your money because you're not having to deal with like the really egregious stuff, and I don't know, maybe it's a premium experience, I don't know, but there's going to be some way for us to keep making money if you keep playing the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it costs. Like to me, again, like just assuming you pay for it, it's like, well, you pay for the game, you get a certain amount of maps, then they launch expansions and/or season passes, which you get maps, and
like the
that should be
expansion
enough.
Sucks.
The system of having expansions?
Yeah, studios like stopped doing that because then you separate the player base and like you keep bringing out these expansions with more maps, and then the player base just gets segregated into like base and expansion, base and all the expansions, base and 2 expansions, and that ends up being really problematic. So they stopped doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you make a very good point there, is like if in a PvP game. So what are you saying in those cases that that's why they should lean more on the store and vanity items and passes versus, doing expansions after it's out, that is?
I mean,
like,
I don't see how studios just don't do expansions anymore because it kills the player base.
I mean, Call of Duty multiplayer, how did they handle it now? I've lost
stopped
track.
doing it.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
It's not free to play though. You have to buy the new game, right?
Yeah, you buy the new game.
PvP.
Yeah, but then they're making another game next year.
Well, okay.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
So, but that's like, I mean, okay, but
they used to do both.
Same difference.
They used to do both.
They stopped
They used
doing
to do
expansion packs.
a new game every year and then 3 expansion packs during the year, which did exactly what Watts is saying. It's like the player base just got smaller and smaller and smaller. And so you're just playing with the most hardcore people at the end of the year.
That's right. And
until you get the new game, and it's
new game.
Like, oh my god, this is so much better.
My DLC. So many people uninstalled their DLC in Call of Duty so they could go back to just playing with a larger pool.
That's right. I'm always just blown away when I think about the anomaly that is Baldur's Gate. It's not a PvP game, right? But it is multiplayer. But there's no microtransactions ever, and it's almost 2 years old. In a couple months, it'll be 2 years old. And just this week, they launched a ton of brand new subclasses, new spells, new abilities, everything. And if you bought the game 2 years ago, you got it. You got it all. It's just crazy to me how much they've continued to add to that game and just how successful it's been. It really is quite the anomaly in this industry.
When it sells that much, though, and is that popular, like Cyberpunk kind of experienced some of that too, right? Where they were able to, just keep up. I mean, they're different. They had to get goodwill.
Can you imagine if Destiny dropped 12 new subclasses today, and it was for everybody who bought Destiny 2 at launch? Like, that'd be wild.
Yeah.
But that's essentially what they did. 12 new subclasses.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
in Baldur's Gate, have they added like new story, new areas, like that kind of stuff, or has it been like new classes and
it's
that based?
Yeah, it's been like new classes, new character dialogue options and stuff like that. It's not like they haven't developed additional spaces, but it's because the game's so freaking huge as it is.
I was wondering because I'm trying to think like, if there's a game, if Destiny only made subclasses and didn't make any other like content, could they do that for free?
Well, I mean, if the Red War campaign was 100 hours start to finish, maybe instead of 12.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, I think just with paying for Marathon, I expect to not be inundated with MTX.
Yeah.
By paying for the game.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. As long as it's like there's plenty of stuff to do and earn in the game, other than worrying about player base really and cheaters, I don't have any problem with it costing money. And I think that conversation, it feels like it gets blown out of proportion because people expect stuff just to be free.
I don't have a problem with paying for a game. My question is, would this game be more popular if it was free? Right? Like, would it get a bigger player base? Yeah, like I don't know. Like, can a game like this can it launch this September and become popular enough to maintain its player base? We've seen so many multiplayer games in the last 5 years come out and 2 weeks later they're shutting the servers down.
Yeah, are they getting the full AAA experience though? I mean, I feel like Bungie's basically saying we're gonna bring a certain caliber of expertise to this experience that you're not getting from this 5-man team that whipped up this extraction shooter that just suddenly took off.
That might be what they're saying, but that's not what the community is receiving it based on like what I've read on Reddit or what I've seen in YouTube videos. I would say the community is like pretty tentative about this game right now.
Yeah. You think so?
Yeah.
Skepticism. I think it goes back to what I said though. Bungie has lost goodwill. It's had ups and downs, but that's what I was going to say though. I'm not a betting man. But people want to talk about PlayStation and Concord, but this game is going to absolutely be around for a year. I'm going to put that down, regardless of whether people like the style or. And the reason I say this is, Bungie does not tread lightly. They have launched a few franchises over decades, and they're certainly under a lot more pressure now. But, it's not like they've released, stuff that's not up to snuff. Whether or not you like the genre and the style is different. But in other words, we've also seen them respond to the community. Maybe too slow sometimes. Maybe they weren't listening right. But they are trying, right, to be fair. Like we've seen them course correct all the time in Destiny. And it has ups and downs. But my point is, I think that's exactly what you'll see with this. If they don't get it right out the gate, it is going to be very unlike Concord in the sense. I mean, that's just way different. That's a much smaller team, regardless of the budget and time spent. It's just... You cannot compare. There's over 300 people working on this game at Bungie, according to interviews. Like it is not a small endeavor. So it's they're going to stick with it. And I would also within that say, like worst case, if the community starts to die out, who knows, maybe they do go free to play. But like that's not on their minds, I don't think at all right now, given their caliber. So
it's also on console, which I do think is a big point. There's not many extraction shooter experiences available on console that are cross-play and cross-save and look the way that it does. I think it does. I think that is important. But I agree with Fran. I don't think they're gonna come out like, oh, it's not selling that much, and then they're just gonna close it.
Yeah, I also just don't think it'll happen. I mean, aren't there just enough?
I think it'll do fine.
Yeah, aren't there enough Destiny PvP players that even if it's not their genre, they're like, dude, I gotta try it because I'm so, they don't want to play Destiny PvP that much anymore, right? I mean, there's probably a bunch of players that stopped playing Destiny PvP, right? That might just check it out for interest, don't you think?
I mean, how can you not? How can you not?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
I think if you like Bungie
players.
games, you're like, I'm gonna try Marathon.
Yeah.
Or even if you used to like Bungie games.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta check the new one out.
I also think you can't understate the power of like the influencer communities when it comes to extraction shooters is not like most genres. Like they go hard, and these creators are always looking for the next thing, to go hard in. And if that's Marathon, that's Marathon, and they're going to bring their communities, are going to be watching these live streams and want to be involved as well. So anyways, that's a big like hardcore die-hard community that's about to come into a collision course with Marathon.
That's
and they're not going to be playing, I don't think, at least the hardcore side of the extraction shooter community is going to be playing Borderlands on that day either.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
exactly.
actually, if you want to have a bit of a refresh your brain of negativity around Marathon, go and check out the comments of Extraction PvP content creators, because you'll find that those comments are a lot of people just being like, "Sweet, a new Extraction game." Like excited to just play a new Extraction game.
That's
and it's
good.
by Bungie that make really good shooters. Like, go if you look at the comments of like Dr. Lupo's video, for example, it's a lot of people just being like, like what TV said.
I'm in.
I'm excited to
Oh,
get
the
into a new Extraction shooter.
The extraction shooter fans are
Yeah.
less toxic
Yeah.
than, of course, all the
Well, they're just
Bungie
like,
fans
I
that
like
are
this genre. I get a new one.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying they're less toxic. I'm just saying
We'll
they're
see.
really committed to their craft, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
And this
like,
also has the plus side of like they do have a lot of like the puzzles and the community solving and stuff. So if you have a community that is like really hard on that kind of genre of game and they like it, and then you also have all the streamers doing all of like the puzzles and figuring stuff out.
yeah.
Like TV said as well, I think it's going to be even more so that they're coming around and being like, wait, I want to be a part of figuring out this puzzle in the new Extraction game.
And the community, just being, you saw what the ARG did. And yeah, like I just want to make I have no skin in the game. Like if Marathon is not fun and I even like extraction shooters, I will say so. I know like it can sound like cheerleading is my point, but what I'm trying to get at is do not count out Bungie, a studio that has defined multiple genres over a couple decades. And I mean, they are like, you love or hate where Destiny is gone. Like, yeah, you got PlayStation bought them so they could give them advice on all this other stuff because they have so much experience.
And then they canceled everything.
Yeah, but they were, I mean, to be fair, like, who knows? Maybe they were right. If you're getting at like The Last of Us multiplayer, which I really wanted. Bungie didn't cancel that. Naughty Dog did, based on a lot of feedback, I'm sure. But anyway, all I was getting at is this is not Concord nor any of these other, quick release experiments like X Defiant, or this is way different. So so I'm excited about it on that front.
I saw a
And
lot of
think they're
sentiment that was like, this isn't gonna pull Bungie fans because it's it's two different genre. But I don't know, man. I see it pulling Destiny fans with the puzzle aspect, with the dungeon aspect, getting together with your friends and trying to figure out this stuff just like you used to do in a raid or a dungeon. Like I do see that pulling Destiny fans.
Yeah, I think so. And I was just gonna end on that note, which is
I also don't think that they're looking to necessarily just double dip on their own audience.
No.
Agree. Yeah.
But there's a lot of
I don't think they're trying to.
Really nice
I think they're trying to reach a new audience. Yeah.
They're trying to reach those Marathon fans from was it 1994 or something.
Those diehard Mac addicts.
But
That's why this game's gonna go hard in the retirement homes.
Yeah. In regards to its potential success, I just want to end on like there is like probably I don't even know if it's like 5 million, 10 million players across like even just Tarkov and Hunt and some of the other extraction shooters, which are pay for experiences like you were getting at, that they're excited to try something. So on console, etc. Like it is you can sort of see why they're going after it. But when you listen to some of their interviews too, they're like, why this? Why'd you choose this? And they're like, because we think it's really cool and intense and fun. It's not, the answer has not been, you know what I mean? This is the biggest market ever, which also like the audience meaning is like, why would you choose this? And they're actually, for once, they're just like, because it's pretty fun. We're into it. And people aren't hearing that message. They're like, oh, you're idiots. You don't know.
This needs to be the biggest thing ever because you're Bungie.
Right, which is interesting because they're like, no, we think it's super fun. And we made Halo, we made Gambit, Firefight in Halo. Like these are the people that worked on that stuff and more. So
I mean, but also you could see the opportunity here. Can't you? Like it feels like there was never like, remember how PUBG came out and it like was really popular and then Fortnite just like became
also
like
paid for
the biggest thing ever, right? But there's never been a Fortnite in this space, right? It's like Hunt Showdown and Tarkov, they still feel like PUBG janky, right? Like,
yeah, oh yeah.
There hasn't been a Fortnite in this space that's like professionally developed is the wrong word, but like a big budget and feels good. Like it just is kind of like streamlined and ready to go. Well, I guess Call of Duty kind of did, but
DMZ was still, but DMZ, I played tons of it. it was still a little janky in the sense that like Warzone even was a little janky, being on an older engine and being so broad, and they just tossed, an extraction shooter in there. So it was fun though, but it definitely had jankiness. So no, you make a good point, Brian. There's also room for like, holy cow, and let's hope that it is, but it feels super polished, and you don't get that as much.
Yeah,
So
we'll see.
And hey, listen, if we come back next week and we're like, so, they're not going to talk about Marathon anymore, then
Ever.
You mean because if we get to play test it?
yeah, we're going to be in the alpha.
But
And I assume we're all
can't
playing
talk
the
about
alpha.
it. Yeah.
I think you probably
what they let us
can
share.
talk about it. We'll see. We'll double check. But yeah, I think at the
some
very
point.
least you'd be able to be like, I had fun, I'm going to play release, or nah, it turns out it's not really my jam.
Yeah.
Marathon,
Well,
never
we'll
heard
see
of it.
if they'll let
Yeah, I
you
don't
do
know what that is.
disparaging the product.
Don't talk to
versus-
me about that ever again.
Of course, they're fine if you're like, yeah, you can say you liked it. You just can't say like you hate it. We'll see.
If
But
you
no,
like it, you can tell people. If you don't like it,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out. But again, we're just gonna have to play more than a play test to
I
really
have had
understand
those
it, I
briefs
think.
before.
Right?
Not from
Oh, yeah.
Bungie, but I've had those briefs before.
Yeah.
I haven't yet, and if I do, I'll go, "Oop, I'm not working with
I
you anymore.
think I gotta
Goodbye."
go. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to disconnect this call. Goodbye. We'll play it.
But yeah, we'll have more Marathon to talk about. I know. Maybe we should chat about all the other stuff.
Yeah, what else we got going on?
I did play South of Midnight.
Oh,
This'll
man,
be,
I am really waiting. I can't
It's
wait
on
to
my
get into
list.
this.
Yeah, it's on my list.
I started it yesterday. I'm like 4.5 hours in or so, and it's like a 10, 12-hour game.
Okay.
I think that this game was criminally undersold by everybody.
Mm.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
good
In
feedback.
what way?
Because so I've heard, obviously you've heard the music is great. The music is great. The story is great. It is great. The writing, the voice acting, all incredible. Visually, like it's not just a unique style that they're doing it with the stop motion, but it's also just beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Like the environments are gorgeous. And I haven't heard people, I think, harp on enough about how pretty. Like I stopped all the time and was like, wow, this looks incredible.
Just taking it in. Yeah.
Yeah. The platforming I think is really good. I think it's done well. I think it's interesting. Haven't heard many people really talk about the platforming, but the platforming is good. And the combat is kind of what you would expect and want from a game like this, because this game feels like it's set up to be like that older school platforming adventure action kind of story game.
You got a PS2 vibe to it, is what I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That sounds
it does.
up my alley.
So the combat is like, am I playing a deep RPG Souls-like? No, but that's kind of what I don't really want that from this game. And I found I'm playing on hard and it feels fun and there's enough going on and for me to manage that I'm like having a lot of fun with that combat. So just across the board so far, obviously like maybe my opinion changes at the end, but it is just a pretty incredible experience of a game. And when that music kicks in and they're telling the story of the trauma that you're trying to kind of heal, because you're going through various different legends, like Southern legends, and you're kind of trying to figure out what's going on with them and heal them. And it's deep too. It's deep. It gets real serious. And then the music kicks in telling you the story through music, and you're like, oh man, this is great. It's really good. It's really good. I'm definitely going to finish it before next week when things get all crazy and new games are happening.
That's great to hear.
But yeah, I've really, really liked it. And every single person I've talked to who I know are like, yeah, this game's incredible. This is like my favorite game so far this year. This game's amazing.
Great.
So it's
Yeah,
that
it got
makes me
good
want to play it
reviews
even
overall.
more.
it's good.
I was already in just from like the trailers and previews and stuff alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks even better, I think. I was like, wow, I've seen a lot of this game and this looks even better. And the
Like
voice
Fran was
acting
saying,
is so good.
It got good reviews, but like every review I saw was like, I would give this game higher if I could. Like it scores well in the heart, like it scores well in the soul. People keep saying. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always
I
relative.
recommend it. It's like platforming through a really beautiful game with incredible music is definitely a great experience.
Heck yeah.
Very nice, very good.
It's great to hear.
Does the kind of stop motion animation kind of bug you during gameplay at all? Like that?
No,
No, it's fine.
not at
I was
all.
worried
It's
that it'd be like having like a low frame rate in a game where it almost can make you ill a little bit.
no, it's
No
it's like
problem.
really smooth. It's you can tell that it's there sometimes, but it feels super smooth. It's in like a really good spot.
Good. Did you play any Mandragora, by the way? You mentioned it.
I didn't. I wanted to play it. It's been on my list. It snuck up on me because I was gonna stream today and play it, but then I ended up not streaming today. So
Did you, Brian?
I didn't.
No,
play
I
it.
have not. It's on my list. It's on my like I'm still knee deep in Kazan. Plus, I started a Dark Souls playthrough, so
I did finish
I don't
Kazan,
know
which
what
I
I'm
can
doing.
talk about as well.
Oh,
Well, I did play up. I actually checked the demo out, but just for a hot 15 minutes, because I was like, okay, there's a demo. I was doing some other stuff, and I was talking about it with some friends. So, yeah, I mean, what I would say is like it's feels good, almost as expected. You know, when you look at a game like that, you're like, oh, I think I kind of get it, the gist. There was a lot of like material drops and a couple. Let me start over. There's a few heroes abilities to choose from, like having a special ability like putting venom on your blades, and it's more of this side scroller action RPG, I guess, at the end of the day. But yeah, you have a few abilities like shooting a void beam or coating your blades in poison, so that kind of thing. So you have some stat play. But I was gonna say, like, the feel of it when I got out there, it felt kind of not like it didn't take my breath away or anything with the way the combat and everything feels. Like it's fine. I do like the visual style, and it could be a lot of fun though getting into the detail. It seems like the reason I brought up all those things that it was dropping, I'm like, it's dropping all sorts of like materials, and then you can have a few things that you can put on your character to like buff it out. But like meaning just fighting some of the enemies and the boss, like, yeah, I mean it feels fine. It just doesn't like pop, you know, it's not the same type of gameplay as say Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown as an example. But I'm like, man, that game feels great. Right, you feel that difference when you check it out. But it seems like it's pretty solid though, and I think it's getting
This is
positive reception.
It's currently at mostly positive on Steam. The percentage of that is 76%. Wait, no. Yes, 76% are positive. It's also, when you see side scroll, a lot of the time you think of Metroidvania, but it's not. It's more of just like a action RPG, dark fantasy story game.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be more combat driven. I don't know if it has tons of platform. There was some in it, but I do like the visual style, and yeah, like it looked good. I mean, I don't think it's like it's more of an indie game, right? I don't think it's some huge.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It is indeed.
So yeah, I
this
mean,
is
I'd say
their first game.
if it piques your interest, it seemed all right though. There didn't seem to be anything about it where I was like, oh, I don't know about this. Like I was like, yeah, this could be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to. I could maybe check it out for like a day, but next week is getting pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I think to be really fair to it, this is where it's like, oh, dude, you only like you beat like a rap boss, you know. But so I'm just commenting on like the feel, but like it has huge skill trees, I guess. And
can I raise my hand for a second? Can we fucking get rid of rats in video games? Like, come on, come on. Like we're done with that, right?
Boss.
Come on, fucking rats.
What about giant wolves?
Like we've been doing rats since Final Fantasy 1. We don't need any more rats.
There's no rat.
I mean, what about giant hogs or pigs?
No, I'm cool with big hogs.
Big wolves?
Just
right,
not.
They're cool.
Done with this Inquisition. But to be fair, yeah, I think this is one of those games that potentially you get into the depth though, and you're like, no, it's really cool. So who knows?
Yeah, the talent tree is like insane looking.
Yeah. So we'll see. Let us know in the comments if you play a significant amount of it, maybe, and get.
I'm definitely gonna check this out.
Let me know.
Right up my alley.
I've been playing a lot of different games this week, which has been good because I was just like head down in Rivals, work for several weeks in a row. So definitely still doing the Rivals thing because season 2 launched. We got a new hero, Emma Frost. She's a tank. Right. She's super fun. She can turn her skin into diamond, and she's like
looks nice.
Yeah, that's a factor for a lot of people. But she's like a really strong anti-dive character. So a lot of the most annoying characters to play against are the ones that just go to your backline and attack your healers, zip in real fast and kill them and run away like cowards. And so she can literally choke lock them while they're attacking your healers.
It looks great.
And then kick them into a wall and just plaster Spider-Man's face on a wall. It's super enjoyable to do. So anyways, they knocked her out of the park. And then they did a ton of balance reworks for the characters to just mix up the meta. It's been really good season so far. And then I've also been playing, which is I suppose appropriate for this episode. There's a game called Schedule 1.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Made by one dude.
Never heard of it.
Where you're basically, growing your own weed and selling it on the streets, trying not to get caught by the cops. So,
nice. Well,
We should be a DCP playthrough game.
So I've been doing that with my wife and a couple of our buddies, and yeah, we've got our own little house with growers and everything, and some of us are working the streets, giving out free samples, trying to get people interested.
Bet you are.
Yeah, some of us are the chemists back in the house, like mixing stuff up, and that's a big part of it is like experimenting and mixing different ingredients to try and get new concoctions. And the game like auto names your new product, and you can change the name of the product if you want to, but it just names it for you otherwise. And some of those names are ridiculous, like Thunder Hooch and all this kind of stuff. Is what just got 12 orders. Got 12 orders for some Thunder Hooch. And I was just sitting here like, what am I doing with my life? But,
it's a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So we run our whole operation as a team.
We could be playing it together.
Oh, maybe we should.
I mean,
should.
This game, it took the gaming world by storm. It's sold a bunch and a ton of people playing it, so not surprising. I was wondering on that front, since I haven't had time to get into it, on the online component, like what is it? Is it you just log on and there's a certain amount of like other players, or do you have to team up with people? Is there, matchmaking?
You can play completely solo.
You can play solo, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can, launch a new instance, a new world with your buddies, and it almost kind of treat it like a survival game. You're making stuff, you're selling your stuff, you're buying new equipment and upgrading your stuff, and then suddenly it's like, well, the rental space over the Chinese shop isn't enough to host our operation anymore. We need an actual house. Then we need a warehouse, and then you can escalate and do more than just marijuana. But yeah, there's a lot to do there, but it's a real low key game. Like you're just vibing with buds.
But if I want to play with other people, do I have to find friends to do that, or can I?
I don't think that you can match make it.
That's
I don't
what
think
I was
so.
Like, can you get into some kind of like open world-ish kind of?
I don't think so.
Okay. So it's meant to, start your own sort of instance and either play solo or invite people into that and experience it together.
Correct.
Well, you're wondering what we should play together, friend. I think we found it.
Yeah.
How long does it take to get into? Every time I see a game like that, that's some of my hesitance too. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have to spend so much time to like figure things out and really start to get into it.
No, it's more fun if you just go in not knowing what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah,
that was me.
I'll figure it out together.
I was just literally, I spent my first $200 in that game on a skateboard and skateboarded around town. And
good decisions. This is the drug dealer way right here.
So my character in the game is Creepy Greg. He's shirtless, has a mustache, and he's a little overweight. And I ride around town with a baseball bat, shirtless on my skateboard.
From that guy.
I hit police officers with it as I ride by. So. But that's how I like draw their attention so that my team can swoop in and like do some deals.
Oh, smart.
But all the cops are chasing Creepy Greg.
Yeah, so there's that role playing element too, obviously. But do you mean to get past the, I don't know if there's a tutorial, but into getting started? Does
getting started took us about 10 minutes. Like,
so it's
launched it. And there was a little like base narration about who you are and what you're doing. Go,
nice.
It starts very basic, and then it's like adding every time you level up, adding a new factor to your operation, whether it's new ingredients that you can mix with or a new piece of equipment that you can now use. So it just kind of starts real basic and just lightly adds a little bit here, a little bit there until it ends up being quite the operation.
Oh, nice. But it sounds like a pretty good pace then that you don't have to, in other words, put in like 10 hours before it really gets going. Or
I operate in that game on about 2 brain cells at most.
Okay. Good to know, actually.
We just shoot the breeze and have a good time.
Yeah, every time I've tuned in, I've watched a little. It's like, somebody placing something and making sure to put it up against the wall. And then they're like mixing, the chemicals together in their little lab. Is most of the only stuff I've really seen. So
my wife is our mixer. I don't deal with it. I'm just creepy Greg with
you don't even do that. Oh, that's interesting. So you don't necessarily even have to do that part of it if you have like
and there's
crew.
like they fully stock the our like product shelf. So when I come in, we get text messages about orders. I can just grab what I need and go deliver them. Or
That's
I can
great.
just grab a few of them and just go hand out some samples while I'm going around clubbing the 5-0.
I like hearing that you can play a role. If you have a crew, you don't necessarily have to do like all the upkeep of every corner.
Fran, we need to get you in the vibe of I'm a streamer. Streamer friend said, "Let's play game. Let's play game."
Yeah, instead of always worried about I'm gonna sink 50 to 80 hours.
They're just like, "Hey, you want to check out this game? Yeah, it's a co-op game. Cool. Yeah, sure. Let's check it out."
But I do believe it has, because it is so sort of addictive loop, that it's gotten people like they'll just play tons of it just because they're enjoying it so much. Right? Yeah. That's cool.
That's been fun.
Good for them. Crazy that a drug-based game has sold so well.
Hey, I remember playing the browser-based drug dealer games. They were addicting and awesome.
Palm Pilot Watts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love that game.
That's awesome.
Palm Pilots. What the fuck happened? Oh, right.
I know, dude.
iPhones happen to Palm Pilots.
I was like, I have not heard those words together.
I'm actually trying to visualize. I was like,
over a decade.
TI-82 or whatever?
No, it was like a touchscreen, like,
was
organizer.
That like Casio, like an organizer?
Yeah, but it didn't have like a phone functionality. It was like, imagine your contact list on your phone. But that's all it did.
I kid you not. That I just went to Google to type in Palm Pilot, and one of the suggestions was Palm Pilot drug game.
Yeah,
that was one of the top suggestions, which I guess is called Dope Wars. Was that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Dope Wars. Oh, memories.
Oh yes, this guy like incognito, like in a brown coat with like all the drugs.
Oh, my Palm Pilot was black and white. I only had it. Wow. Yeah, I didn't have a color
I see that one
Pilot.
too. Shout out to, I think maybe it was Matthew Lee. 1999, maybe. Holy crap.
Yep, that's what I was doing.
I did not see the future coming, honestly.
What if I told you the guy who made Schedule 1 is the person who made that game?
Who made,
no,
what was it called? Dope
Matthew
Wars?
Lee. Dope Wars, yeah. No, it's not, but wouldn't that be hilarious if like he had this huge comeback?
Games.
Yeah.
So I've been working on this game since '99.
On my Palm Pilot.
Exactly. Amazing.
Anybody else got anything they want to talk about?
Baldur's Gate 3, you kept mentioning. Did we cover it enough there?
Well, if people are interested at all, yeah. So they just added 12 new subclasses.
12
that have. So my whole party got together. We started a brand new, fresh playthrough. My wife is like a full blown dark sorceress. Is like one of the new subclasses. She explodes bodies. So if there's a body on the ground, she can blow it up and use bodies as like grenades in combat. Wow. Pretty cool. They add the Swarmkeeper Ranger, which is like a fan favorite, subclass that was an offshoot from the original ones. So they added that to the game, which is really cool. You've got a Swashbuckler. I ended up doing the Way of the Drunken Monk. I'm literally a monk whose combat gets enhanced with booze. So I basically, anytime they find booze, they send it to my inventory so I can. And he even does like the whole, this thing in combat. It's great.
How's that affect your conversation skills?
Actually, I get drunken performance as a new proficiency for me. So I can walk into a room and just start telling a story and distracting people. It's super fun.
Love it.
Yeah,
That
so
game
all
is-
these subclasses totally free. Just hit update on the game in Steam, play it, boom.
That game
You
is
got
so on
access
my
to it
pile
now.
of shame. I so want to play it. I'm just gonna have to like just drop everything and just play it this summer, I think.
It's one of the greatest video games ever made, in my
Would there be any problem playing that console that you would foresee? Is it fine?
No, I think you'd be fine.
Okay.
Did you guys also catch the Space Marines
Oh,
update that?
I heard about it.
I
I
heard
don't know
about
anything
it,
about it.
but I
Yeah.
didn't play.
3 days ago they announced but yeah, it's PvE stuff, I believe. Yeah, new PvE mission, a new weapon, 2 cosmetics, but it is the Trigon update. But yeah, just like
Nice.
I believe it's like totally free. Yeah, but it is a new little PvE mission, which
was
piqued
great.
my interest. I
Yeah.
love the construct of that game. Like, play the campaign. It
Yeah.
doesn't like force you into all this back and forth with grindy stuff. If you want to do that, what are they called?
The operations room.
Yeah, you
That
can
game's
get
so
it.
good.
Yeah, but I like meaning as someone who beat the campaign, I was like, I would enjoy doing the operations, but like I just was playing other stuff, and it's always they're waiting for me. So the fact they're just adding in another like PVE mission, I'm like,
Is
what?
this
That's
another
awesome.
operation, or is it just? It's like a narrative PVE mission.
Oh, actually, it does say it's the 9th PVE operation.
Okay.
So that's
Cool.
right. That
I mean,
is
the
different,
operations are
yes.
good.
But I
I
think-
They're
like
very
it.
good, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You can play those solo though too, or no? Does it match?
Yeah.
No, you can't
Yeah,
play-
So
it does matchmake. Yeah.
it does matchmake, but you can play with bots. It'll just fill out your team
Oh,
with
that's
bots
right. You can.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played some of the operations. Like, anyway, the game is cool. It's just awesome to see them update it, and they had so much success with it, and seems to be a great way to do it. And it also brings 2 new DLCs for season pass owners. One is the Space Wolves chapter pack. It adds a new champion skin, 3 weapon skins, and more unique cosmetics. And then the other one is another pack like that. It sounds like champion skins for a tactical class, unique plasma incinerator skin. Okay, so it's a bunch of skins, and then this 9th operation, I guess.
Excellent.
Nice.
Cool.
I'm glad that game succeeded. I want to see
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
more from
Mhm.
them. Like that game was really fun, and it was kind of
They
sad that
announced
the
the
first
sequel,
Space
right?
Marine never really got off the ground that much. Yeah, they already announced Space Marine 3. Who did that though? It was Games Workshop that announced that, not the developer, right?
Actually, I think the
That was
developer,
I thought it was the
publisher,
developer, wasn't it?
Was it? Okay.
The publisher, yeah.
Focus and Saber, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that came out again. I remember commenting on it, I think on the show here, where I was like, man, you don't see that often where like they're just so happy with the direction, the sales, and it's probably more for like investors and stuff, but like for fans, even just
Let's
to
do it
know that
again.
that they're going to get one at some point, even is just awesome. So yeah, I was super happy for that game.
Yeah, it was just so honest to the source material. And unapologetic about it. They're just full sent. They're like, this is ridiculous. That's what Space Marines is. It's kind of ridiculous, but we're gonna embrace it.
Yeah.
But just to get like a classic PvE campaign within that, with an awesome soundtrack and killer visuals, and it wasn't
Oh yeah.
ridiculously long and grindy. Like, I'm always
Yeah.
whining about that stuff, so I was very happy.
And the
with
way that game makes you feel, like when you are you walk into
Yeah.
a room and there are 200 enemies on your screen and you.
Yeah.
And then you
That's
walk
great.
out of that room a few minutes later covered in blood and you're like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Totally.
Just a super fun game.
Yeah, they nailed it.
It's fun. I watched. Well, me and Fran watched the trailer for Cronos: A New Dawn.
Oh yeah.
This is Bloober Team's next game. The people behind the Silent Hill 2 remake,
Oh,
as
okay.
of recent. This is their game. They're not like remaking or anything. And this was the first time seeing gameplay of it. So it's they said they were inspired by The Thing, of course, Dead Space, and Dark, the TV series. Dark.
Oh.
Oh,
What?
Yeah.
Oh, Dark?
Yeah.
Never seen that.
So they're doing a thing where humanity has kind of died.
Oh, that.
And you are a time diver where you find rifts, you go through rifts to try and save people and bring them back into your current time so they can survive the apocalypse. So it's just there's a bunch of timey-wimey, spooky-wooky stuff going on.
It looks nice.
It looks
Yeah,
really
looks
visually
real
very,
good.
very, very, very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
disgusting, but it looks good.
yeah. As if you've been listening to this show for a while, you know I gushed about Dead Space 2023 and just like I wish that it sold more because I would like to see them keep remaking more of that. I mean, it sold like 3 million copies, which apparently is just not enough.
It did
But
well.
even Striking Distances, which was some ex-Dead Space folks that made a Callisto Protocol, like it had potential, but just the genre seems to struggle to some degree. So
Sure.
I don't know if this is going to play as much like those or not, but I'm excited about it. I love that genre. The spooky, what'd you call it? Spooky wookie?
Timey-wimey, spooky-wooky.
Timey-wimey, spooky wookie.
Timey-wimey,
I'm all
spooky
about
wookie.
it.
Yep, they're
That's
doing
it.
some weird stuff. It's weird and spooky and gross. Oh, they also said that
Did it-
they're leaning heavy into body horror. So they want to make
Yeah.
sure that all of the enemies are like the way that they're gross and weird and like not quite right is because it's using bodies. They're not having like things stuck onto them to make them
Right.
weird.
Just love that the term body horror is already like sort of just skin jittering enough.
You're just
you
like,
know?
ugh.
Yeah, the
No,
term
it's-
alone, let alone the people that implement it in their.
Did any
It's-
of you
it's
guys
body
ever
horror's cool.
play? Any of you ever play the Forest or the Forest 2?
No, but I remember.
Had plenty of body horror.
I like body horror. It's because it makes you feel uncomfortable because you're like, yeah, that's a person, but
Yeah.
That thing's got 12 human legs and no face.
something's weird.
Yeah, it's a little relatable, unfortunately. Like, familiar with those parts.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks
I'm keeping
cool.
my
I think
eye
it's
on that.
sometime in 2025. I think they've still
Sometime
said. I
this
don't-
year, apparently.
Yeah.
Keeping my eye on it because yeah, it looks great. And Bloober is like, I really like their games, but they tend to have for their own games. They do remakes very well, but for
Yeah.
their own games, they have really incredible ideas, but they can never quite stick the landing of where you're like, damn, this is really cool. Then you play it and you're like, yeah, it's could have maybe been a little bit better,
What
but I
was that
still
one?
liked it.
Was that them that did that?
Medium?
Where they, medium.
The medium.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Mhm. Yep, that's them.
That's what I thought Watts was maybe
I
just
enjoyed that.
describing. Because I
Yeah.
always wanted to play it, but that was
enjoyed
the
that game.
impression I got from people.
I
Or
really
maybe
enjoyed
didn't.
it. Yeah,
Yeah?
because the idea was super cool, and I love the going between two worlds. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I liked
But-
it personally.
Did you already, remind folks they did Silent Hill 2 remake, right? Which you really
hmm
enjoyed, right?
Silent Hill 2 remake is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they seem to be on a bit of a streak here.
We'll
see.
see. Well, I'm keeping my eye on that one. Looks good.
Boy, you know how you watch like something on YouTube and then it comes up with like a bunch of recommended stuff?
Mhm,
That game
mhm.
changed my recommendeds. Watching that
Oh,
trailer.
no. Really?
Ugh, not good. It's not good.
It's all body horror now.
Yeah.
There's no going back.
Yeah.
I got
Too
like
much to
5
play.
minutes because my wife's birthday. I gotta do breakfast in bed
Oh,
for my wife
okay.
tomorrow. So
Oh.
Okay.
You got to start cooking now.
I gotta get up early. Is what I'm saying.
So you got to get cooked now. Got it.
You got to
It's the
start
worst.
cooking. Got
Yeah.
it. Well, next week I'm really excited about Expedition 33.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
next
right.
week? What day?
Next week. It comes out on Thursday, but I'm gonna be able to start playing it on Wednesday.
Oh, nice. On your channel?
Yes.
Streaming it? Nice.
I'm gonna. Yep.
I can't wait to see this game because it kind of confuses me just like looking at trailers. So I just want to like see what it actually.
Just show me what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
show me what
I
it
get
does.
that.
Very,
Yeah, I've
very
been-
excited for it.
Yeah, I am too. I'm trying to finish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is right in the genre of this, and I'm like, I
How
don't
many
even
hours
know
you
like,
got
if I
into
can.
that?
I don't want to talk about it. 85, 80,
Fran-
90 maybe, but
Is having, I think, the same feelings that I had with Rebirth, where it's like there's parts that you love, and then there's parts where you're like, please get me out of here.
Yeah, probably. Like it's to keep it short. Like I respect they wanted to remake Final Fantasy, and there's a lot of stuff that I mean, it's unedited, right? It kept everything in, I think, for the most part. And so you just be doing side quests that are not even side quests. It's part of the main game, and so pacing wise, it really like you're kind of zooming in combat, and I'm slotting my material. Then all of a sudden, it's just kind of screeching halt, and I mean that's just what the game is. So you got to take it at a different pace. But boy, the way that I play them too, I just can't, only do the main quest. And so I like exploring the world. But then I feel penalized because I'm not moving on. And that's the whole like thing.
I am the exact same way. I really struggle to beeline. This was the first game that made me do it because I was like, I'm going to hate it if I don't continue. And I don't want to be in the I don't want to be in the mindset of like, I really don't like this because there's a lot that I love.
You could sour it if you stayed too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what I heard about this game, from a person who didn't like the side quests in the first Final Fantasy VII Remake, I was like, this is not going to be for me.
Yeah. No, it's just to be clear though, I wouldn't have played this much if I didn't really enjoy, like I love its combat. I love the materia. I love the characters and like some of that sentimental side of it. It's definitely an amazing game. I know it's been many people's like game of the year choice, and I get why. It's the pacing for me that's just like woof. You almost I wish I was just playing it a little bit at a time, but because of the detail, I kind of can't walk away from because there's so much to kind of remember and do. So
yeah,
it's just a long game.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, guys, is that it? Should we wrap this one up?
Works for me.
All right.
We'll bring 420 back with your questions next week.
Don't worry, we'll still be high.
We'll celebrate it again.
Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.